Welcome to the MTBC Telling Our Stories podcast. I am your host, the Associate Pastor here at Mount Tabor Baptist Church, Daniel Nally. And this podcast is us here at MTBC at Mount Tabor sharing our stories. I hope you enjoy your time as you listen to the testimonies and the stories of people of our church. And I hope you share these stories with friends, people that are hurting, people that need encouragement. So let's give a listen to our story for the day. Welcome back to another MTVC Telling Our Stories. Today we have Miss Kaye LeRoy sitting down with us and sharing her story. Thank you for being here, Miss Kaye.
Thank you.
We're here on a Tuesday afternoon, which is kind of odd for all of us that have been helping with Good News Club for how many weeks total? 24 weeks.
24 weeks.
So this is our first Tuesday off, so we decided to come and talk. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Before we really dive into your story of what Jesus has done in your life, would you mind sharing just kind of a picture of who you are, maybe hobbies, family, things like that?
Okay. I was, let's say, two sisters, and one being a twin, so identical twin. So that was a different type of growing up. Older sister and a twin sister. But it was a good. I was raised in a Christian home, and parents really were. They were older than most parents, but still they loved us very much. Of course, I met Bob at our first teaching job. You can't say that there's a coincidence there. God had it planned because he came from Erskine and Memphis State, and I came from Clemson to Lawrence. You know, you just don't orchestrate that haphazardly. So we met, and it was almost, I guess, instantaneous, some kind, of spark. So he being a coach, he asked me to game, and I went and saw him. Believe it or not, it was in Anderson. I traveled all the way to Anderson to see his ninth grade team play. So,
Okay. Was this basketball?
No, this was football.
This was football. Ninth grade football.
Yes.
Okay.
So we dated and got married the second year that we were teaching.
Okay.
We could teach in the same school because it was a combination high school of 4 little small schools put together. And so there were already married couples teaching, so they couldn't say a word about us being married and teaching at the same school. They just made sure that we didn't have the rooms side by side.
Yeah, I gotcha. I didn't even know that was a rule at some places that you can't have married couples teach together.
Yeah, it has been, and even for Bob, he wasn't allowed to continue to teaching if Michael was going to become a media assistant. So he decided he would retire.
Hey, I mean, that sounds like an easy way out on that one.
Right. So we had 2 boys, Alan and Michael, and I'm outnumbered. Sports was our life, and so that's the way it's continued.
Yeah, y'all big Clemson Tiger fans too.
Yes.
Go to the football and baseball and a little bit of basketball here and there.
Right.
Have any hobbies besides outside sport?
I love cross stitching. I don't do it as much as I used to.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't have any space to put the pictures up anymore. But love cross stitching, and I, of course, love reading. I can read hours on end. So
Now, are you a Kindle reader, or are you a physical, I need to flip the pages reader?
I'm both, but right now it's Kindle because I can get those books anytime. I don't have to go out to get them, and I don't have to wait for them most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Straight download.
Right, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So
There you go. Well, cool. I didn't know about the cross stitching. That was a new one. Didn't know about that. I knew you like to read. I always remember. We still pick up kids on Wednesdays, but when Mr. Bob and Miss Kaye were part of our youth council team, they would come and sit with us while kids would play in the gym and everything, and they'd each always have a book to read while the kids were playing and we were chilling out. So I knew about the reading part because of that.
Right.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Now let's go ahead and dive in. Do you mind sharing your story of how you came to know Jesus as Savior and Lord?
Okay. Um, as a child, mom was putting us to bed, all three of us to bed. Dad was not there. I think it was Wednesday night, and he was at service.
Mm.
So that I'm not sure about that one, but he wasn't there. And so my older sister asked, "Mom, what do you do to get saved?"
Mm.
And it just opened the floodgates. I
Mm.
mean, it was the most intense joy and peace, and she, and Mom said, you just have to believe, and I said, well, then I want to do that too.
Mm.
And so it was just, now Dad didn't know what was going on when he came in because we were all crying,
Mm.
but it was just that much happiness and joy.
Yeah.
So from that point on, I knew that I belonged to God.
I gotcha. And so y'all been going to church up to this point. It was
Yes, yes,
just a moment in time
right,
where
a moment in time.
your sister asked, and
Mm-hmm,
I have to commend your mom. She made it very simple. It
mm-hmm,
sounds like just believe,
mm-hmm,
right? And
mm-hmm,
that's, I mean, that's what the
mm-hmm,
Bible says.
mm-hmm.
And so that's awesome. So you got to be led by your mom and
Right,
joined with your sister that day. Well, your older sister.
older
Oh,
sister.
okay,
Now,
sounds
I'm
good.
not sure if Faye made that commitment at that time,
Mm,
but we were all touched. I can promise you that.
yeah.
It was there was just some that joy and peace that you can't ever understand
Hmm.
that was there in that room. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was wonderful,
Yeah. Sweet
wonderful.
moment for sure.
Right, right.
That's awesome. So how old about were you then?
I was probably maybe 8, 9, something
Okay.
like that. Still young, and still did not go down to join the church for a number of years.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it was a personal commitment at that time. It wasn't a church commitment.
Okay.
So, but what eventually we did,
Hmm.
So
I gotcha.
Faye and I went down together.
Okay.
Okay,
That's awesome.
so
So from 8 or 9 to today, looking back throughout your life, have there been moments where you've seen Jesus show up and he was with me through this?
oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt. There was a time Bob and I were just been married just a little bit, had no children, but I had gone to Spartanburg to see Faye, and coming home, it was just a 2-lane road, and I was sailing along, happy as a lark,
Hmm.
um, and then a man in his truck turned in front of me,
Mm.
and I was going 55,
Hmm.
and I knew there was no way I was going to avoid him. It was too close,
Hmm.
and I said, "God help me,"
Hmm.
and I closed my eyes, and I thought that was it.
Hmm.
Well, somehow the car went off the road.
Hmm.
I took it. I didn't take it off the road.
Hmm.
God took it off the road,
Hmm.
and He missed me.
Hmm.
The truck missed me, and I wasn't hurt. I mean, I think I did break my finger, but I never went to the doctor. It just hurt, and well, to be honest, I was playing church league softball at the time, and I had to play.
Uh-huh.
It was playoff time, so
Okay.
I didn't go to the doctor because I knew that they would put it in a cast and I couldn't play.
Yeah.
I I I could. Uh, I'm not sure if I was pitching or just fielding, but I did pitch some, and but I couldn't bat. I couldn't swing the bat, and
Okay.
so amazingly, they walked me.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I
But
mean,
God took care of me. That I mean, I knew that I was probably dead
yeah.
at that point
Yeah.
because at that time there was no seat belts in the cars,
Yeah.
and so going that fast and hitting something like that would have put me through the windshield.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
The very real moment right there
hmm
of what we see as a little thing or a normal thing, I should say, of just driving around
hmm
like you do. Like you said, you're happy as lark doing. You probably made that trip multiple times, and
yes, yes,
in this moment, the Lord showed His grace in
right,
your life, enough to be able to go play some softball later.
right, right,
That's awesome.
right. So
What about other moments throughout? Any challenges of, you know, uh, moving and stuff? Because I know y'all moved a few
right,
times.
right. There was a challenge one time when I was supposedly assigned to a middle school, and that just came all of a sudden. I was at the high school teaching, and in Northwestern in Rock Hill,
Mm-hmm.
and the principal called and said, "You've been reassigned to the middle school."
Mm-hmm.
Well, my certificate did not include middle school,
Mm-hmm.
so I'd have to go in under just I don't know what they call it, some kind of lower credentials, um, and I knew that that was not what I was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had I just didn't think middle school was for me. So, but God intervened in that too.
Mm-hmm.
I actually there was because I stood up and fought
Mm-hmm.
that. Uh, uh, there was a lady that stepped up and took the middle school job,
Mm.
and I was allowed to stay at the high school.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
so again, that was not an easy time,
Mm-hmm.
because um, that was just out of the blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just a call on the phone in the summertime,
Mm.
and you're thinking, "What in the world?"
Yeah.
You know.
Kind of. Especially, I mean, how many years had you been at the high school at that point?
Um, I would say 6 or 7
Oh
at least.
wow, yeah. So yeah, that's definitely you're kind of in a groove at the point.
Right, right.
You kind of got your lesson plan set up and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and then
Right. I mean, and the principal said it was just because you probably wouldn't say anything.
hmm,
So
interesting.
so
But got to see the Lord's hand and that He was
yes,
preparing someone else for that position.
right. And he gave me the strength to stand up and
Yeah.
fight it. I would not normally fight that,
Hmm.
but I did that
Hmm.
time. So
Gotcha.
it was and I finished up my career at Northwestern. I never left
There you go.
till I finished.
That's awesome.
So
So y'all, this is Rock Hill, Indian Land area, and all that. How did y'all end up here at Mount Tabor Baptist Church?
coincidence again.
Yeah.
You don't no,
Coincidence.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. We decided that we didn't want to live in Indian because it was growing it was
Hmm.
so different from what we when we moved in '89. It was rural. It was a stoplight. And there was no stoplights there. There was stop signs
Hmm.
to the major road, and so. But it had got to the point that it was just so busy,
Hmm.
and the field across from our house that had been empty for almost 28 years was now going to be turned into 300 homes. And so we decided that we wanted to get out.
Hmm.
And so we started looking, and it took a while. And again, no coincidence,
Hmm.
Bob found a listing of property um, in Anderson,
Hmm.
and we liked the looks of it, and we came up and we looked at it,
Hmm.
and we liked it, and we said we wanted it, and we bought it from Jeff and Jenny Burke.
Hmm.
And when we signed the papers in the lawyer's office, they walked in and she said, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And I said, "No."
You're Jenny Burke. We're signing papers with you.
But she says, "You know me by my maiden name." And it was Jenny Lindley.
Hmm.
And then we knew because Bob's first AD football coach he worked under was Mike Lindley,
Hmm.
Jenny's father.
Yeah.
And so, we bought the land from them,
Hmm.
and we've taught Jenny,
Yeah.
we really did it at Lawrence. So we did know them. And so we knew that we wanted to find a church. We'd been in church,
Hmm.
and we had a good church at Pleasant Valley, but, we came here and it just felt like home.
Hmm.
I mean, it felt just like home. You just kind of feel it. And we visited other places, but it was no comparison.
Hmm.
So God led us here.
Yeah. And I'm sure that was tough too, because well, I know y'all's story pretty well, but y'all were at Pleasant Valley for a long time and
Yes,
serving very faithfully in many
yes,
roles and things like
yes.
that. So, how was that transition from moving from a church that y'all been at for so long?
It was hard, and it is wonderful to go back and visit Pleasant
Hmm.
Valley. I
Yeah.
mean, Michael still goes there,
Mm.
so it's sweet. It's sweet to meet the people that were friends with, and we're
Mhm.
still friends with,
Mhm.
and we miss them. We
Yeah.
really do, because they were wonderful people. But I also feel blessed to be in a church of Mount Tabor,
Mhm.
because the friends and the people here are just great. So
Yeah.
it was hard to leave people,
Mhm.
but not hard to leave, and transfer into a church that is so loving,
Yeah.
so God centered.
Yeah.
So
Well, we appreciate that, but we definitely want to, you know, just say thank y'all or thank you for faithfully serving here. I mean, there you were the how about say commander in chief of Good News Club, but what's the actual title?
coordinator.
Coordinator. That's it. The coordinator for Good News Club, and like I said, served in youth, and Mr. Bob teaches Sunday school, and I just want to say thank y'all for y'all moved and got plugged in right away.
Well,
It's
we're not sitters.
yeah.
We love being involved in, and we loved being involved with the kids and the youth.
Mm,
I miss the youth.
mm.
One of these days, we're gonna come down and just visit.
Sounds good. Come on down.
So it's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
that's
So
awesome. So thinking through all these times and challenges and through life and transition and all that, have there been verses in the Bible or a life verse or something that y'all been able or you've been able to hold on to?
well, Psalm 23 always comes. I always say that one.
Mm,
But when COVID and all that started, the Bible verse that I returned to or went to is Psalm 56:3.
mm,
When I'm afraid, I will trust in the Lord.
mm,
And I say that all the time
mm,
with the different world situations that are going on, even personal situations sometimes that go on.
mm,
You just have to believe that God's in control,
mm.
and we should just sit back in faith and watch what happens.
Yeah,
So that's my verse.
yeah,
But Psalm 23 too.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, very powerful
right,
verses. Talking about
right,
in the midst of craziness and chaos. That's
right.
definitely.
I mean, I've written something underneath that, and it says, "I have all I want."
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
so I have it all.
yeah.
So,
It was a good reminder.
hmm
Good reminder. So sitting here, whoever's watching this, watching your story or listening to your story, what would be one thing you would want them to know?
that God is always there,
Mm,
regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstances. God is there.
mm,
I mean, there so many times of changing. From Lawrence to Indyland, we had to trust
mhm,
that God was there. It was
mhm,
His plan, and we believe that it was His plan. It wasn't our plan,
mhm,
but it was His plan. So, trust God,
mhm,
trust in every situation that God's got the plan, and He's going to work it out.
mhm,
He works it out for our good.
mm,
So even when I was going through and having some of the surgeries that I've had,
mhm.
God was there.
Yeah.
Before I go into surgery, I always say, "Your will."
Mhm,
So
yeah.
it's there. Believe that God is there,
Mhm,
and He will work it out.
yeah. Which ties perfectly to what your verse is with that
Hmm
Psalm um, passage from Psalm. So
Right.
good reminder for all of us that the Lord is with us and He is there, and when we're afraid, when we are about to face a situation like you driving down the road and no other choice but to trust.
hmm
So, uh, but definitely good reminders for us all.
Thank you.
Well, Miss Kay, I appreciate your time sitting down and sharing your story and sharing your heart. And I'm excited to see what the Lord would do with your story.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me.
Yeah.